Welcome into the Spark session. We have a very exciting guest, one of my all-time favorite clients, Mr. the one and only Todd Evans. Todd, when I was first introduced to you, I was told you were the godfather of franchising. So tell our audience, yes, welcome in. Tell our audience a little bit about your career journey and what the heck is franchising? What's this world like for you?
Well, first and foremost, Brittany, thank you very much for extending an invitation for me to be here. I am very humble and honored to participate in this with you. So yes, I've been in franchising, scary to think about, nearly 40 years, and have been super blessed to grow multiple companies to thousands of stores in some situations and billions of dollars in revenue. So I have lived a very blessed life.
You think on a much higher level. I can attest to that.
Well, it's all about the annuities. It's all about building revenue streams. And one of the beauties of franchising is if you can find a textbook, find a need and fill it business, and you can deliver good customer service, you can create a pretty epic annuity, and those annuities build over time to sometimes publicly traded companies.
That's true. We've been a part of that, haven't we?
You have played a major role in several of those organizations, as a matter of fact.
Yes. So you started, what was the first franchise system that you were a part of?
Well, the first one that was really of scale was a company called Aaron's in the consumer durables leasing business. When I started with Aaron's, we had, 24 stores, and I think we were doing just under 26 million in revenue. And we actually grew Aaron's to just over 2,200 stores, doing a little over 3.2 billion in revenue. Company was publicly traded on the NASDAQ. We moved it over to the big board, the New York Stock Exchange. It was just an absolute phenomenal ride with a great group of people. But that was my real entree into the business. And then I was blessed to join a group with uBreakiFix, which was a small cell phone repair business. And we were able to grow that to just under 600 stores. With another 600 stores committed for under the terms of area development agreements. And that company was actually acquired by a large insurance company. And then I got involved with a private equity group, and we rolled up multiple companies in that private equity firm, actually took the company public and then took it back private, which was a very exciting ride. And then most recently have joined Jeff's Bagel Run, which is basically the same group that got uBreakiFix up and underway, and we're now scaling that brand with a wonderful team. So that spans nearly 40 years in franchising.
That is crazy. And you just hit on a big nugget for this podcast. And that's what it takes, the ingredient mix, if you will, for a really great team. So you've been a part of really great teams. I am so thankful to have been on some of those teams. But tell me what you think makes a great team, maybe in franchising, but maybe just in general in business.
I think the first thing is you have to have a great business. And usually it is an individual who comes up with a good concept. And then that individual surrounds themselves with people who can tinker and twist and adjust and really make that concept, more palatable to more mainstream America and scale it. But I think a good team starts with a great idea for everyone to rally around. And then you have to have a great leader. You have to have somebody who is inspirational, who's a driver. Ken Butler, my boss at Aaron's, I was with him for over 20 years. And in 20 years, I think I got 4 attaboys out of him.
Wow.
He was that consummate head coach. He was always just trying to wring a little bit more water out of the rag. Whatever you did, he was like, can you give me just a little bit more? Can you give me just a little bit more? And if you have that kind of a leader in a team that is selfless, that is committed to making sure that everybody else on the team is successful, really before their success, that really serves as a cornerstone to be able to scale a team and grow and really have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. Somebody that has expectations that are beyond what you think you can accomplish. I'll never forget being backstage at a leadership conference, and a really well-known author, speaker, leadership guru said, how big's your team at SeeSparkGo? I think at the time we had 12 employees. And very graciously, he said, well, that's a large payroll, which I appreciated at that time. But I asked him, I said, how do you lead young people? What's the core ingredient of success for leading teams of young people? Because I was young myself and my husband. And so we were, scrappy and getting things done and trying to make a difference. And he said, give people more responsibility than they think they can handle. Because if you challenge them to grow beyond what their self-expectation is, then the company as a whole is going to do great things, but you're also going to grow people. And I think that's one of the core tenets of having a great team that's able to accomplish big things together, is getting outside of your comfort zone. So it sounds like
it is. It's very, very true. It's, my dad would always say, dream big and double it. That's one of the things that I have been, so excited about with all the companies that I've been involved in is pulling young people onto the team and then watching those people as the company grow, watching their responsibilities grow and watching them grow, and then watching them build teams underneath them, and then them, imparting the knowledge that you gave to them on other people. It's really inspirational in life to see young people grow and to help them grow and become successful business people. And in some situations, it's been literally generational changing wealth that we've been able to create for some families.
I mean, that's one of the things we started out with, is you think on a much higher level than I think. And that is so true. I mean, some of the deals that you've made and helped other people make, I mean, that's so true. Is there an art to making a deal, Todd, that you could share with the rest of our crew here?
I think the art is to listen, understand what the prospect that you're working with, whoever you're working with, to really understand what their needs are. It's cliched to say this, but 2 ears and 1 mouth, but that simple thread of common sense isn't that common anymore. And it's always much nicer to ask questions, to probe, to really understand. I mean, it's the core of SeeSparkGo. I mean, that's exactly what you guys do. And that's what you guys did with us when we first came together, many, many years ago. I remember we sat down and you guys asked hundreds and hundreds of questions from all different angles. And I was really impressed by your organization's desire to really try to understand what our needs were. And I think that's where it all begins.
I appreciate that. First of all, thank you so much. And two, I do feel like curiosity is almost a virtue, because when you're curious about someone else and where they're sitting at the table and what they're trying to accomplish with their life mission, or what they're trying to create. We're all creators. We're builders by nature of that. We're created beings in that way. But if you get really curious about someone, then you automatically communicate care. I care about you winning And that is so important. And as an agency partner, we only win if our clients win. So we want to know what makes you tick and what's the goal line look like for you. Jason Mattis used to say, like, let's put points on the board. At the end of the day, we can't just get to the red zone. We got to cross the goal line. So I love that.
Yeah. No, and I think SeeSparkGo does a phenomenal job of that. But I think again, the cornerstone for every deal, the art of every deal is to think win-win. And it's okay to be a hard trader with folks. I mean, but be a fair trader with people, but you need to understand what victory for them looks like as well. And that's how you grow businesses to thousands of locations and billions of dollars in revenue.
That's right.
Is helping others along the way.
Yeah. Your success, or our success depends on yours. I love the idea that, your legacy, and I think Jeff Henderson actually shared this Mark Batterson quote, that legacy is not what you're able to create. It's what other people are able to create because of you. And so that's really this idea of a franchise in general. You're giving a vision away to other people. You've created this product or this service that meets people's needs, find a need and fill it, as you said. But it's cool. Like, you have this really cool concept, and it's got brand, and it's got sticky elements that make the storytelling really fun. And so tell me about a crazy wild campaign that maybe you've done at any one of these brands along your venture. What's something that stands out to you as kind of a wild idea that you guys were able to pull off?
Oh, there's hundreds and hundreds of stories of crazy campaigns and things that we came up with through the years. But, I don't know, probably one of the most interesting ones was back at Aaron's when we first got involved with NASCAR racing. Ken Butler, the CEO of the company at that time, or COO of the company at that time, came up with this idea, because at Aaron's you could own a product in 12 months. With all the other competitors, it was 18 months before you ever owned a product. So we sponsored a NASCAR race. This particular race was usually a 300-mile race. I think it was the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm not sure. But Ken came up with the crazy idea to add 12 extra miles to this race.
Wait, you added 12 miles to a NASCAR race?
Car race. Yes. Instead of it being a 300-mile race, it was a 312-mile race. And the whole promotion was the drama of 12 extra miles. What about the fuel? What about the tires? What about the drivers? What about TV commercials? I think that's Talladega.
Isn't Talladega 300 miles?
It could have been Talladega. I'm not sure. Yeah. We sponsored a bunch of races, but just the inspiration to come up with that, and then the media coverage that we were able, to garner from Ken's crazy idea to add 12 extra miles to a race, but incredibly effective campaign. And we went on to sponsor Michael Waltrip and multiple drivers and multiple races, but it was all because of the traction that Aaron's received with that, initial promotion and initial entree into NASCAR by adding 12 extra miles to a NASCAR race. Crazy idea. Crazy.
I am sure that affected a lot more people than just the drivers themselves. I mean, how did the drivers feel? Like, they have to add 12 miles to their end goal. What was it like to pull that off?
It was epic, because nobody had ever done anything like that before. Awesome. And the original response from NASCAR and from everybody was, no, you can't do that. And Ken said, listen, this is the only way we're willing to sponsor this race. I mean, we want to, to make a splash. Yeah. And I mean, that whole thing took on a life of its own. We went down, it was Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now that I think about it, we went down to Atlanta Motor Speedway and we watched, races, on TV and we figured out where on the track we could put Aaron signs, like with the camera, coming out of turn one, there was a spot on the fence. We would stick a little Aaron sticker there. We just wanted the Aarons, all over the broadcast. But that was, I want to be in advertising when I grow up. I want to come work for you when I grow up. It's just so much fun.
It's so much fun. And you're hitting on so many things that I do think make a good story sticky. And it has to be visual. There is something really compelling about the visuals. And so you've got a NASCAR race. Everybody can kind of picture what it feels like to be at a NASCAR race right then. But when you think about the media exposure and the broadcast clips, you do want that logo signage to be front and center. But what makes that story stand out to me is that you did something that's never been done before. So anytime a brand can come up with an idea or a twist on something that people immediately have a recognition of, but then do it differently or do it in a way that adds, I guess, inherent news value, really, because it's newsworthy, that's going to drive eyeballs. And I've seen PR in and of itself save so many brands. Because media exposure and third-party endorsement, it really does give consumers something to hold on to. It's what they believe about the brand to be true. It's how they see that brand come into life in their world. So kudos to you. That sounds like a great campaign to be a part of.
It was a wonderful campaign. And to your point, a lot of businesses are just that. It's just a slight adjustment or twist to something that's already happening. I mean, if you take a look at uBreakiFix, Justin came up with the bright idea. We can fix your phone in 2 hours. And you used to have to ship your phone back to a depot. You were without your phone for 4 or 5 days. And that's how you stay in touch with, friends, family, everybody, and he came up with the bright idea. Hey, we can fix your phone in your neighborhood in 2 hours. And that business just absolutely exploded off of that idea and the promotional help that you guys provided the organization for sure.
Well, thank you for that. And it's funny. I remember Andy and I flew out to Orlando and he said this one line. He said, people would rather be without their left arm than without their cell phone. And I thought that's so true and sad. I think there's a study. It says 92% of Americans have their cell phone within an arm's reach, 24/7. 100% of the time, their cell phone is always within reaching distance. And so maybe as a society, we should look at being able to put it down more. But that was a great selling point for uBreakiFix. They had state-of-the-art parts, like manufacturer-grade parts, direct, and they created a distribution model that made that scalable nationwide. And that, uBreak was it still is a fun brand. They were acquired by Assurian, which is a $1 billion insurance company. So the game changed a little bit, but so proud of them.
Yeah, no, but to your point, it's a twist on what folks are traditionally doing. I mean, there's plenty of NASCAR races. Who adds 12 extra miles? I mean, there were lots of folks that could fix broken cell phones, but who's going to fix your phone in 2 hours? It's just a little adjustment that makes all the difference in the world with proper promotion.
So for our listeners out there that don't know, Todd came on to uBreakiFix after SeeSparkGo was already in place. And he gave us this challenge. He said, you have 6 months to impress me. And I remember my colleague Hannah and I were like, okay, this guy's a tough cookie. Like, we've got to impress Todd Evans. And 6 months in, we were still rocking and rolling, generating tons of media coverage and opportunities to tell the UBEF story. And I guess the rest is history, Todd, because you've taken us with you to many more places since then. So thank you for that.
Well, no, you guys earned that, Brittany. The SeeSparkGo team absolutely earned that. Under, your and Andy's leadership over there, you did a great job for us there. And with other brands, we pulled you guys on board, and people have left those other brands and continued to work with SeeSparkGo. It's all about relationships. That's it.
It really is. It really is. Well, tell me where you're at now. Tell me about Jeff's Bagel Run. I heard you say it at the front end, but where can people find Jeff's Bagel Run? What can they buy a franchise? I know you've got a lot of units open now, but what are your goals?
Yeah, so it's a startup, and thank you for asking. It's very exciting. We're basically a technology company posing as a bagel shop because we created our own tech stack for the business.
Oh, that sounds like
I don't know. Yeah, it's the same folks that are behind the brand, but yeah, we have 35 locations open at this hour. We go as far west as Vegas. We're in Colorado Springs. We're up in Downers Grove, which is the Chicago area. And then as you pull back into the southeast is where you find most of the other stores. We have 39 stores that are in the site selection process or are under construction right now. And we have a total of 164 committed for. And we're really just now getting, the brand up and underway. But it is, again, Brittany, I am the richest man on the planet. I was super lucky to be involved with a great team at Aaron's. I was super lucky to be involved with a great team at uBreakiFix. The same thing with Franchise Group. And now this group at Jeff's Bagel Run is equally an impressive of a team. And we're going to do some big things with this brand.
Well, it sounds like you already are. And so I'm excited to watch the growth. And I just have no doubts. I mean, you're right. It's like we talked about at the front end. When you get the right team in place, you really can accomplish a lot of great things. So Todd, we end all of these podcast episodes with one question, and it's your favorite childhood story. Is there something that comes to mind when you think about growing up that really stood out to you as a story that kind of marked your journey, if you will? Is there something that stands out to you?
Yeah. So great question. And I have always been super entrepreneurial. This goes back a long, long time, but in high school, like we threw cake parties to raise money. Nice. I started a magazine while I was in college and sold it. I've always been very entrepreneurial. And I think the driver for that entrepreneurial spirit probably goes back to the old David and Goliath story. I mean,
that's so good.
when you're small, and because the world is big, competitors are big. I mean, there's some very, very formidable folks out there. But if you have the courage, to stand up, throw your shoulders back, hold your chin up, poke your chest out, and proceed fearlessly into the world, you can conquer just about anything. But you ultimately have to have tenacity, because ultimately the person that wins is the person who thinks they're going to win, and they're just not going to give up. So probably David and Goliath is my favorite childhood story.
Oh man, I love that, Todd. It's such a faith-filled story too, that we're probably all shaking at the knees at some point, but showing up is half the battle. Just putting something out there and saying, I'm going to walk up to this line. And even if it feels huge and insurmountable, that, I've got people in my corner talking about a great team. And that, with faith, you can really do anything. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, you absolutely can. That's a great question.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and joining all of us and sharing your wisdom. I'm sure we'll get lots of questions about just the art of deal making and the things that you've been a part of. I'm really honored that you would share with us today. Thank you, Todd.
That you would extend the invitation, Brittany. Thank you very much.
I look forward to talking soon. Thanks, man.
Thank you.